Welcome to Season 2 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Hi, Barry. Happy holidays.
Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, trying to ward off all the flu bugs and all the germs.
Oh, no. Well, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you too.
Thank you so much.
We're just winding down the end of the year, aren't we?
Yeah, we're still doing our businesses and recording podcasts and working these clients that we have.
Yeah, and I'm excited that last week was our first week that we were on Amazon Music.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, now we're featured on Amazon Music. We got the invitation, what about a month ago?
No, literally a few days prior to us getting on.
Nice. Very cool. So
So,
that means we're on Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio,
uh-huh.
Amazon Music.
Apple, Google. Um, did you say Spotify? And
Yeah.
now Amazon Music podcast. Yes,
That's right. So you can find us anywhere. The Biz
pretty
Show.
pretty much.
So today we have a special guest on our show.
All right.
We like to do some interviews with some special guests sometimes so that maybe it'll hit home for some of the people in our audience. No matter what business they're in, I'm sure they always have some value to add to the show. And it could help people get their businesses off the ground or give them some creative ideas with how to run their business more efficiently and
Well,
increase their
yes.
productivity.
Business is business, right?
Yeah, so I'm happy to introduce Bryan Roos. He's from I think Arizona originally?
Ohio originally. Grew up in Canton, Ohio, the Football Hall of Fame, but I did my business in Phoenix and Scottsdale, Arizona.
And what business?
Wow.
I was in the automotive industry, and I actually started as a salesman and worked my way up into owning a dealership.
Oh,
It
wow.
How long did that take, that process?
took me about almost 15 years from the beginning till the time that I was actually became an owner, which wasn't too terribly long. And the opportunities then were that we had a lot of small, what do you say, call ma and pa type stores, and that's what I worked for, a ma and pa type store. And the owner wanted to retire and gave me an opportunity to buy his business along with a couple other partners, and it turned out to be really very successful. We took a dealership that was losing money into a dealership that became one of the number one stores in the United States. And then at the end of the day, we got bought out by Wayne Huizinga, which is the owner of AutoNation, who started in the waste management business many years ago with one dump truck.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So started for waste management and got into that. What got you, Bryan? What got you into the car business?
Well, I think I've always been like a salesman. I started with a company like a Home Depot company as a lawnmower salesman back in my college days, and I really enjoyed the sales aspect of it and the one-on-one with customers. And as time went along, and I went to college in that, I started doing it part-time in the summers when I was off of college, that be it in the car business, and just kind of stayed in that career for over 30 years.
Wow. That brings two questions up. You mentioned college. Um, what did you study in college, and did that play any part in your business sense and running businesses and stuff like that?
Well, my college major was business management.
Okay.
And I would say that the thing that college gave to me, because I did college with business and psychology, was the aspect of learning to deal with people that were going to work in any kind of a business, that they would, giving me ideas on how to correspond and to relate to people that wanted to become business managers or business people. So I applied a lot of those applications to myself and to the car business.
Wow. So as you got into the dealership and the management part of the dealership, how did you build your sales team? How big did you get your sales team, and what was some of the challenges with that?
Well, I started with one dealership, And at the end of which we had in the sales team, we had about 20 salespeople, and they sold both new and used cars. But as I came along further in the business, I ended up with 4 different dealerships, which ended up being close to 100 salespeople in the car business overall. Plus, in the car business, when you become a general manager or an owner, you have not only the sales side of it, but you also have like the parts department. And believe it or not, that's involves sales. You have your service people. Like when you guys or customers go to the service drive, you have the gentleman that welcomes you and talks to you about what kind of repairs and so forth you need or services you need on your car. So again, that relates into sales. So you could have both white collar sales down to blue collar type sales in the car business.
Interesting.
Yeah. So did you enjoy the coaching and mentoring side of it and getting your sales team to be producing and selling those cars and providing services that would make the clients want to come back?
I really did enjoy that because I love seeing people become successful, which everything to me in my business started as sales. In fact, my son came out of high school and started as a lot man, cleaning, washing, and moving cars around. And today he is a service manager of a Buick GMC dealership, being very successful in that business. Then my nephew, who also he was a Marine, and it was funny when he went to high school, his final thing when they tell you what do you want to do when you get out of high school, he says, I want to be a successful car salesman like my uncle, which is obviously was me. And today he's a general sales manager in a dealership. So, I believe that you can put your skills together as a manager to help other people become successful in the business. And it's a pretty lucrative business once you become good at the sales aspect and the follow-up with your customers and expanding off of that follow-up, let alone new customers.
Very good. Very good. Are you still in the business today?
No, I retired. I was very fortunate, retired about 15 years ago when the corporation AutoNation bought us out. I stayed with them about 3 or 4 years, but big corporation versus a small mom and pop store were two different worlds, and I kind of wasn't totally into the corporate, getting to work in the morning and having 150 emails that I had to answer when I really wanted to run the business.
Oh God, I know that. Lisa and I know that well, don't we, Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Just not emails today, but text. The phone's constantly, the text is going off on there as well.
Yep. You have to answer all of them and provide really good customer service. Nowadays, everything's like so fast paced. If you don't answer it right away, then somebody else is going to get the sale, right?
It is. And I for me, I like being, I don't, Johnny on the spot or whatever the case but I like to try to knock things out as fast as I possibly can. Let me rephrase that. I like to address them as fast as I can so that I can get it taken care of for the customer and move on.
Well, I was in my business, talking about that, getting back to your customers, I was one of the earlier pioneers of what they called the BDC department, which was basically internet, which today is extremely popular. And I actually had my BDC salespeople, which was 3 of them, have their own cell phones with their phone calls going directly, or I should say the phone calls from the customer going directly to their sales, to I'm sorry, had their customers' inquiries go directly to their cell phones. Therefore, and I insisted on a response within 30 minutes to an hour at the maximum amount of time. Because if somebody's calling you on a car, in my case, there's another dealership right down the road that can sell them a car just as easily as I can. So response was to me a very critical situation and very important. And I still believe that today, because obviously I've gone and bought my own cars, as you guys have. And if somebody doesn't pick up the phone or answer your question, you just go on to the next store or the next phone number and find out ask them the question. So
somebody that's more helpful, right? That brings me to what were the key components that make a good salesperson, would you say, besides being quickly responsive?
Well, I think relating to your customers and being a down to earth, being able to talk to people, which I think is a little bit of a problem today because so many people are used to texting, emailing, and so forth on their phone that we've lost that one-on-one correspondence with the customer. And I think anybody, it's like when you go to the store and you ask somebody, where is something like at the grocery store? And they go, yeah, it's down there in aisle 5 and whatever. Or there's the person that takes you and leads you down to the product. You appreciate the person that took the time to walk you down and show you where something was versus the guy that says, down the way, turn left, turn right, whatever.
Right.
Bryan, you and I are on the same page there. There's an analogy that I used many times here in the podcast, even that customer service, I relate from Kmart customer service to Target customer service to Nordstrom's customer service. And basically, you just surmised it all right there.
Do you know that Nordstrom's was one of the guiding systems because their customer follow-up was so good and their response to dealing with a customer that many people put together car follow-up programs based on Nordstrom's initial program?
Oh, interesting. Huh.
I did not know that the car sales industry did that, but I do know Nordstrom's customer service. I studied it pretty deep and had some deep analysis on it. So yeah, and that's why I came up with the Kmart versus the Target versus the Nordstrom service. It's by far none. It's one of the best out there.
And one of the other things that's interesting when you talk about customer service is the difference between how a salesperson deals with a man versus a female. And one of my biggest areas that we were very successful in was being very female oriented as to what their needs were, how to respond to the questions, and to be sure that they felt like they were being helped versus being taken advantage of.
That is interesting. Honestly, I've never given that any thought because for me, customer service, everybody gets the same level of customer service, top notch.
What would you do differently?
Yeah, interesting. Let's elaborate on that a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing with a female is the number one.
Would you flirt with them?
Only if they were as cute as Lisa.
Good save.
Oh, there you go.
I'm in trouble today, so I had to say that.
Well,
but no, I trust the thing. Females, number one, they're apprehensive when they come on a lot. And in most cases, they are dealing with a male salesperson. However, today, we are putting more and more female salespeople into the business. Yeah. So I'm going to say it's probably like a 60-70 male, 30-40 female deal. And I think sometimes females like to deal with females, which is totally fine. It's like, a guy comes in. We also have Hispanic salespeople now, way more so than we used to, because again, it makes them feel more comfortable and so forth. So I think you have to be able to relate to the needs of the person, be it a female, and what they, ask them questions and let them talk to you versus you trying to guide them and tell them what to do. I think that works out much better, and not only in female, but in any case. It's like you have to understand the needs of the customer in order to help them, in my case, find the right automobile. And oftentimes it's kind of funny, but because people like to use the internet and so forth and buy a car, but a car to me is still a feely, touchy deal, and you really need to sit in it, see if it fits you, see how it drives, and that sort of thing. You cannot drive the internet. You can't take it around the block and that sort of thing. So again, it's very important to be interactive with the customer in those ways.
So it's it. Buy a car off the internet. This is he's like not even about the car, he's about the deal. He told me the other day.
Honestly, I've never bought a car off the internet. I always go to the lot and I actually walk around and look at the cars. My wife's got an interesting story about an issue that she had when we had a car that had to go in for service. And just what you said, right? The serviceman was really talking down to her, like she didn't really know what she was talking about or anything like that. And so they had a little bit of a disconnect between that. And then midway through the conversation, he started calling her Mr. Best Pitch, which
What?
really tweaked
That's
her.
terrible. Oh
And
my.
so then she's like, you got to get involved with this guy because I'm going to slap him next time I go over there. And so I
So,
dealt with the rest of it.
yeah, that brings me to the question, Barry. Like, are there some, we'll ask Brian, are there some dealerships that provide better, obviously, probably better customer service than others? Would you name some brands, or
Well, I think that
the more luxury the car, the more, not necessarily.
not necessarily. I think over time that people, as managers, because we're talking about the management aspect, have trained and guided their people to be more sensitive to the issues like Barry you just mentioned about that. Because I will not tolerate or didn't tolerate anybody talking down to any customer, to be honest with you. And I always made myself available to that customer. If there was a complaint, I had no problem dealing with it. And as I had mentioned, especially in the service side, because there, a lot of women bring their cars in for service and they have to rely on what the service advisor said. And I attribute my son's success to the fact that he will actually, as a service manager, if he has an issue with a customer, call them up and explain to them or ask them what their problems are. And people do like to talk to somebody that's in charge. And I think they respect that and have more of a tendency to believe that what they're saying is true and thus needed. And you can always offer somebody something in sales. When you're in the management side of the business, if you just, whether you're right or wrong, if you always make an effort to try to satisfy the customer by just offering them something, whether it's a free loaner car or free oil change, or in my industry, people appreciate that. It's, you earn business.
Goes a long way.
And I think that's what's lacking today a lot, that people just don't feel they have to earn business. You just expect people to come to you, and it isn't that way because it's very competitive in any kind of a sales industry.
I think you're right. And not only that, but I also think it goes per generations, right? The older generation, baby boomers and something like that, we have an idea of what customer service is. But I've noticed in our interactions and my past interactions with companies and employees and stuff like that, and employees that have had work for me, that the younger generation is really not into speaking and doesn't have the vocabulary to have those type of conversations.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And that's, again, it is definitely generational. And I think that, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but the day of the true salesperson or the person that is going to be able to help the customers seems to be on the downslide, because people just would rather text or email or whatever versus a one-on-one communication. There's nothing like the good old phone call where you call somebody up and tell them, "Hey, hello, how are you doing? Introduce yourself," and that sort of thing. In my estimation,
Right.
You're right, and I think they're afraid to really communicate verbally to one another. They're more than happy to pull out their cell phone and text you. I have a young friend who, actually a past employee, who just purchased a car over the internet. They never even saw the salesperson, the sales manager, or anything. Everything was done over the internet, text, and then the car actually was delivered to them.
Like Carvana?
Almost like Carvana.
Yeah.
The sales, they actually met the salesperson at the very end of the sale when the salesperson drove it into their driveway.
Wow. Well, Brian was saying that this is like the busiest time of year because they're getting rid of all the 2024s. The
right?
best week to buy a car is right now.
Yeah, this is actually the strongest sales week of the year between Christmas and New Year's, because as you probably see, every commercial on TV anymore is about an interest rate, a rebate, a lease rate, or some sort of a deal there. And there are some very good deals out there right now that we obviously didn't have, especially during the COVID situation. And
Right.
the thing that I would comment again about, like, the Carvanas or the people where you buy everything online, I always ask my friends, because I get that question quite a bit. I go, who do you call when you have a problem with the car that you just bought? They
The
don't
salesperson.
They don't know.
I call the dealer, right? So the service
Yeah, but
department.
who's the dealer? Carvana's like all over the country.
Oh, yeah. You're
You
right.
know, who do you call if you deal with your local dealership? There is a salesperson, there is a general manager, there is a
Yeah.
service manager. And you
Well,
know,
I saw in the news Carvana's got, some PR problems going on because they're not giving out the titles like they're supposed to.
Oh
It's
my
taking
Right.
gosh.
forever and stuff like you're probably aware of that.
of course,
That's
yes.
crazy. Because you
And
don't
so one person got their car repoed.
what?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they didn't get them a title.
Oh my
right.
God.
And if they had a lien, the bank wasn't able to file a bank lien, and the people didn't know how to where or who to pay the payment to.
What a
Happens
mess.
all the time. It's
What a mess.
That's
So
why I always buy new cars. I rarely have bought any used cars just because I don't want the headaches of somebody else, but number two, I want to have a fresh start with it and have all the paperwork done by the dealer and sent to the DMV and stuff like that.
I wouldn't be opposed to used cars. I actually have dealt with both and myself. I like to buy used cars. I buy late model used cars. The best used cars are the ones that still have remaining factory warranty. They have gone through an inspection through a dealer. You ask them for the inspection sheet. There's also, which a lot of people are aware of, is the Carfax, which gives you the history of a car as from the day it was bought till the service that was done. It'll tell you if a car was ever wrecked and so forth. So you can always ask a good dealer for a copy of the Carfax. And if they
Oh,
don't give it to
interesting.
you, there's a reason why they wouldn't give it to you, which is usually because it's not a good car.
I've heard of that, and I've heard of like a lot of cars from the East Coast and down in Texas, all were flooded, and then
Yeah,
they went somewhere else and were resold, and they were trying to hide the Carfaxes on those because they were salvaged. They're salvaged cars.
correct. Correct. There's a lot of people that have bought salvage title cars that didn't know because they didn't know what a salvage title was.
right.
A
Right.
good dealer does not sell salvage cars.
Well, that's good to know. And how do you
I
find
bought
it? How do you
I
find a
bought a
good
salvage
dealer?
car. I bought one once for my daughter, and the inside of the roof was like coming out and down on the window, like weather stripping was falling off. It was the worst car
Oh,
patch job I've ever bought. But that was
oh man.
a salvaged title. Yeah. So
Did you know
Brian,
it was?
what's that? Yeah.
Did you know it? Oh, you know.
I
Okay.
did. I took a gamble. It was the first car I bought for my kids or whatever, way back when they were 15, 16. But it was good while it lasted. It didn't last very long.
And you also get on that sort of a deal, you get clobbered when you go to get rid of the car because
Yeah,
the decreased value on a salvage car is not near the savings on the price when you bought it.
it's true.
So and also if you ever go, and Lisa can attest to this, if you ever buy a car, which does happen, that is a bad car, a
A
new
lemon.
car,
Mhm.
which is a lemon, a dealer can help you resolve that lemon situation with the manufacturer. A used car, Carvana, those kind of guys, they're selling you a used car and
There's nothing you can
they're
do.
not, yeah. I mean, like I
Yeah.
say, who would you call at Carvana to ask, hey, where's my title? Or hey, I've got an issue here. It's because the dealer is going to look at them and say, well, they're supposed to take care of their car. They sold it to you. I'll try to help you, but it's not, you're not the priority like you were if you bought it from your local dealer or your mom and pop store in your own town.
Yeah.
And it's good for your town. I mean, let's face it, we should, we talk about Buy America versus Japanese or Chinese. Well, we got to support, they have the sales nowadays for your little local sale, doors, be it clothing or cars or whatever. And you want to support the people that work and live in your town, in my estimation.
You and I
Good
are on the
point.
same page there because I've said this many times. I would much rather go maybe to a restaurant or whatever, a local mom and pop restaurant,
Yep.
and have my money be handled here in the city wherever I am, and go to the locals and stuff like that instead of to some corporate CEO back in New York City who's already making 300,000 or 300 million a year already.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're on the same page. We got to support and hang together as
We
people,
are.
as a country.
So if you
You
could
know,
do it all over again, would you go back and do the same thing? Would you go into the car business?
Yes, I was very happy with it.
Yeah.
I would probably it would be harder for me today because again, I'd have to knock a few people in the head to get them to kind of understand the sales aspect and the management aspect, that it isn't just all texting and all that sort of thing as we've talked. But yeah, I would, and it would be, and it turns out to be a very successful business, and customers do appreciate that. And part of the thing that salespeople need to understand is a sale is not for once. A sale is building a customer that's for life, or refers you to their friends. And that just can be on and spiral into a very successful business.
Just like in real estate, you want your client to be loyal to you. I've bought the last 4 or 5 Mercedes through the same person. I went back to the same sales manager, same person every time because of the level of customer service I got. And I really felt like he cared. And so I even call him, he's retired now too. And I even call him if I have a car question, car problem, I still call him.
And that was
Yeah.
before me.
You know, every time I've gone somewhere, it's always been my salesperson's gone, and there's
they
always
don't
a
stay
new
in it
one.
very long. Yeah.
However, there's one when we bought Tammy's Mini Cooper. We bought a 2012 brand new Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, that Mini Cooper dealer is BMW / Mini Cooper.
Right.
They provided the best customer service we have ever had, ever. Even, you know, today, we still have that Mini Cooper, but they were just bar none, bend over backwards. What do you need? Okay, yeah, we'll get this taken care of. Just drop your car off. Here's a loaner. Go take care of it. You know, we'll let you know when it's done. They'll call us like every couple hours, give us an update. There's a couple times like, you know what? There's a water pump that's under a recall. It's going to take us a few days to get it. So just keep that car a week or whatever. And by the way, when we did that, we're also going to change, you know, out the oil and do a service on it. Plus, we're going to take it in the back and wash it and detail it and everything for you.
That's the way it should be.
No
Absolutely.
charge.
Yeah. So it makes you love your car more, right? When you get that level of service.
Right. You know, the car I bought now, the Hyundai Sonata, you know, I've called them and I just get the answering machine and the answering service, and it keeps going in a rotation back and forth. A couple times I felt like driving down to the dealer so I could talk to him face to face. The service is not there.
So while we're on the topic of car brands, so Barry, I know you're a pilot guy and you like planes, but what's your favorite car?
Well, you know, I don't really have a favorite car. I have several that I do like. You know, I would definitely, if I could afford it, I'd buy a Maserati, but I hear they got a lot of problems, right? So
That Italian car.
but I had a Jaguar in the past, and I really love that Jaguar. The Jaguar was good.
Yeah, I love the look of Jags. I had one too. I love Bentleys. Bentley's my favorite.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We're dreaming now. But,
you know, it is a Volkswagen Bentley, though. You guys realize that?
And Jaguar is a Ford, I heard.
No, Jaguar
it's Yar or something. It's an Indian.
It's owned by Tata. That's
yeah.
India.
Yeah,
India company
Jaguar.
now. The Jaguar is. It used to be British. Used to be part of British Leyland, but now
Ford
Jaguar's
bought it.
owned.
Ford bought it, and then the
they,
Indian company. And you know they're notorious for electrical problems.
Oh, totally.
That's my Mercedes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But Corvette was my mom's favorite. Okay. So what's your favorite car, Bryan? A Lexus C3.
You know, I just get the urge to have a car, and I don't really care. I mean, I've had Corvettes, I've had Bentleys, I've had Fords, I've had Chevys. Right now, I drive a GMC pickup. So tell me that isn't a big range of, you know, and the reason I got the GMC was because my son's a service manager and I got a very good price on it. And if I do have a problem, I call him up.
You know, one of the used cars that I bought was a 1980, and this was a while ago, a 1981 Corvette Stingray.
Yep.
And, you know, I hate to say it this way, but it was piss yellow. Right? and
we call it speed yellow.
Okay. You know, I love that car to death, but it always smelled like gasoline and exhaust.
Oh, how funny.
And all my friends that had that car we all we all had the same issue. It always smelled like gasoline and exhaust inside the cab.
Oh my gosh. That was like the cool smell though. It's like you got a muscle car if you can
Well,
smell the gasoline.
back in that
That,
day, yeah.
yeah.
Well, the one thing nice about that car is the fact it's worth more today than it was when you bought it.
I wish I still had it.
See, exactly. You had a gas
Yeah.
smell, but you wish you had the car.
So let me ask you a question, Brian. Uh, just I know that you had several dealerships, but just one dealership. How many cars do you have on the lot at any given time? And then what is the percentage of, I mean, how many cars do you sell a month? Um, on average.
Well, each dealership, depending, like you'd mentioned, a Hyundai store, they don't sell near the amount of cars as like a Ford or Chevy store would. Um, so it all depends. I had Chrysler and Jeep, and we at any one time and it varied depending on the economy and so forth, but we would sell 150 to 200 cars a month. But when things got kind of slowed down, like they did in 09, 07, 08, that area, we were down to 70 or 80 cars a month. And the other thing that dealers have to realize is back, 3 years ago now, when COVID was there was not near the amount of inventory because of the manufacturers having people off work and so forth and that sort of thing. Yet when there was lesser inventory, they were getting more money for the cars.
Oh, right.
Where today,
Right.
if you could drive by any car lot today, they're all loaded. There's way more inventory than demand in a lot of brands right now. In fact, you can go on there and they'll tell you online, okay, if you have a 300-day supply of cars, that's almost a year's worth of cars. You don't want to do that. You want to have your inventories down around a 90-day supply based on your sales trends.
So now's the
Well, yeah,
time to
you
buy
don't
a
want to
car.
get stuck with a car that's old, and now you've got 300
Right.
days and you can't sell it. And now it's the new year.
Right. Well, and everything has to get sold. So, that therefore goes to the reason right now the inventories are heavy. And like Lisa just said, that's why the deals are there. The interest rate deals, the, rebates and so forth and so on are there.
So if
So
those cars are there in Q1, won't there still be good deals on them? Because now they have to
all the cars, any car that the dealer has on the lot in most
choice.
cases has a good deal on it. Now, obviously, they're more incentive to sell the older
2020.
cars. Yeah, because you have 25s coming out. I actually, in the
Yeah.
car business at one time, had 3 years worth of cars. I had, examples sake, I had like a 22, a 23, and 24 models on, and that's like a no-no because you got to realize carrying that inventory, the banks are your flooring for that, or carry that, and
I
that
was just
interest rate starts eating up your profits.
I was just going to ask that. I was going to ask, do you have to purchase those outright? Do you pay them on the back end? Does the bank hold a note on those? And then
Yes.
also, on average, how much margin would you make on a car sale?
Okay, so
Good question. That's $1 million question.
Yes, it is.
He's not going to answer it honestly, let me tell you.
oh, it's funny. Let's talk about the car inventory. As soon as a manufacturer ships you the car from the plant,
You lose money.
they put it on the bank floor plan. So the banks you carry your inventory through the bank on a floor plan, which is and has an interest rate on it. Well, right now your floor plan interest rates 8, 9, 10% because interest rates are still, it's higher than like you're going mortgage rate of 6 or 7%.
Right.
And then as far as margin go, it used to be back 15 years, 20 years ago, you had big margins on the cars for the dealers to make. Well, today it's more based on the incentive that the factory will pay you for selling inventory. So in other words, if you sell, they'll give you a bogey and say, okay, if you sell 50 Chevys this month, example sake only, we're going to give you an extra $500 a car. If you don't get to the 50, you don't get the 500. So you have to, as a dealer, you have to play that game of saying, okay, I'm going to hit this 50 because I need that 500. So I'll sell cars for a loss because I know at the end of the day, I'll get that money. But if you don't hit the number, you don't get the money.
Oh.
So, so it's a chess game. It's like a chess game on the deal.
But throw out
a lot of funny back end funny money.
Well, the average dollar amount, again, it's like if you buy like a Hyundai Sonata, I mean, those cars only have $600, $700, $800 in markup for invoice to retail price on those. So you're selling those cars to make money on the back end or from the factory. But you take a car, let's take your Jaguars and stuff. I mean, they got $15,000, $20,000 on some, the $150,000, $125,000 cars.
Cool. Nice. All right.
Well,
I'd love to talk to Bryan all day. He's got so much information.
He does got so much information, but we do got to wrap this up.
But it was such a fun learning process.
It is definitely. Maybe we can have him on again and continue on.
We thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And now you got me all excited to go back to work.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Well, listen, guys, Bryan, thank you so much for joining us today on the Biz Show. We really appreciate it. And we've learned a lot about this. Guys, thank you so much for our listeners for tuning in and listening. Don't forget that you can reach out to Lisa or me at investquire.com and also at the Biz Show, the Facebook group, the Biz Show.
And listen to us on Amazon Music.
And listen to us wherever you want, especially Amazon Music.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great day. Thank you.
Bye, Mary.
Bye.
Bye.